Right, everyone?
Yeah, way is the one. They're like that. They're like two torches.
All right.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Ladies and gentlemen, these people in the corner. Gleb's going to talk to us about MobileVR, something I don't know anything about, so I'm very interested to hear what the current state of the art is.
Yep. Good evening, everyone. I have a couple problems. The first one, I'm not a native speaker, so please take it in consideration. And the second problem was that initially this was announced like Google Cardboard IP example, but actually it will not. And I hope Raphael from Google user group will not be disappointed by this presentation. So what I thought what this presentation should be about, I decided that it should not be about some API or some like technical details. I want to do some other thing. I want to encourage you to try it out, to do something, and then maybe next time we will discuss what you do, what you did. So MobileVR, how far we are. First slide is a little thing about me. This is my table. As you can see, I'm a hobbyist mobile developer. I'm developing for Android, iOS using Xamarin. Before I used the AirPlay SDK, that's now Marmalade SDK. Also, I'm developing for PC a little bit, so I have the Oculus, so I can compare like mobile and real experience. So let's take a look on MobileVR. If you remember, the first thing that was powered by battery cells was the Virtual Boy, and it was 20 years ago. Now we have Samsung Gear VR, which is kind of similar. It's 20 years, so just kind of. So what devices do we have at the moment? First of all, the famous Google Cardboard. It's really cheap. You can do it by yourself. Actually, I've seen here TOG stickers, so someone probably have access to TOG, and you can laser cut it from cardboard, and you just need a pair of lenses. It will give you some experience. You just need to stick your phone into it. Later I can show you how it works if you want to. I have one with me. So it's perfect kit for starters to start, but it's not quite good experience. And I will explain later why. There is also SDK available for Android only, but I managed to run it for other systems. Okay, this is another example. Tourist dive made in Germany. You can order it online. It costs about 60 euro, like 58 maybe. Or you can just 3D print it yourself, because the guy who created this device actually open sourced it, so you can download it and print. It will look different, but it will work. It will be much simpler. This one is much better quality than cardboard, and it works almost again for all devices. You can just put your phone into this thing and it works, except that if you have some big phones, like bigger than Nexus maybe, you will not be able to do that, because Nexus is like fits in this device and that's it. You cannot put anything bigger. So you have like Samsung Note 3, for example. I'm sorry, you have to find something else. Maybe this device will help you. It should be available this month. I'm not sure if it's available or not. So this is real deal. It's kind of a device created by Oculus in cooperation with Samsung. The problem is it's only compatible with one device. It's Samsung Note 4, I think, which makes it expensive. About the phone itself costs 600 euros, and this device another couple, 600 USD, and this device another couple hundred USD, so in total like 800, and plus shipment and plus taxes. So it's quite expensive. Yeah, but resolution is much better than, for example, like Oculus DK2. So it should be really good. This thing will be available next year, and it's something in the middle. So it's non-VR. They just announced that they tried to get some pre-orders, but they wasn't able to do much of it, so they postponed it to the next year. I think because there is not much content for this device. You can stick any phone. There is replaceable front panel, so you can put any device in it, and there is this little wheel that lets you adjust lenses, so it should work better than, for example, Google Cardboard. But we'll see. I don't know. So actually, this is not complete list of these devices. Guys from China produced a lot of those, so you can order them on Deal Extreme, whatever, like eBay, lots of them. And idea is always the same. You have some kind of compartment for your mobile phone. You have a case and straps, so you just put your phone into this device, adjust lenses if it's adjustable, put it on your head, and you have some stereoscopic vision. And all these devices are actually about stereoscopic vision. There is no yet like complete solution with like hands, for example. You cannot operate with hands. So yeah, as I said, any 5-inch device will work nicely with cardboard, Dorvis Dive. And if your device is bigger, you can probably get something that will be compatible with your device. And this is why iPhone 6 is good, because bigger screen, it now fits the whole area, like whole field of view. So how it works inside? There is no kind of, really there is no magic. We have linear accelerometer that measures linear acceleration, so it actually tells us where down is. And we have a gyroscope, which tells us how fast we moving, like rotating device. So there is usually another thing inside of a phone called magnetometer, which is compass basically, but it's not good for VR because resolution is not good and like latency is not good. It was good for augmented reality, but it's not good for virtual reality. So basically it works like this. We have accelerometer and gyroscope fed, like input from these things fed into some magic. So it tries to produce current orientation by integrating gyroscope values and using as accelerometer as a helper. And it not only gets the current value, but it also gets how fast the device is rotating at the moment. So then we can do a forecast. The thing is that we cannot display. If we will just display picture as a current orientation says, well, it will be just in past. But the picture we're trying to render will be appearing on the screen in future. So we need to predict where device will be at that moment in time. And this is why we need not only current position, but also where device moving. So we then render and we have a happy customer. That's really it. I don't want to get too much into details here, because if you want to, you can always learn. This is a screenshot from John Carmack's presentation. He did it a couple of months ago on Oculus Connect. This presentation is perfect. It will tell you why this will not work. Like, that technology is not yet there. The latency is too big. The screen that in the Note was not that good from the box, so they adjusted it. Not adjusted, they kind of make a deal with Samsung, and Samsung provided them with direct access to some kernel things, and they was able to render right on the screen without multi-buffering. Do a lot of tricks. That's I'm trying to avoid now, because I don't want to spend your time on these things. You can learn if you want them. If you want to learn them easily on internet, there's a lot of resources. So, yeah. If I will come back. Yeah, at this point. So basically, what it gives us. now, what is available now? We have a bunch of rather cheap devices that we can use for virtual reality, and we have no applications. If you will go to the market and you will try to find something for cardboard, you will see a few demos, and they're not quite good, I should say. I tried at least several of them. Maybe like in last few months, situation changed. But when I tried like a few months ago, there was no content. So people were trying these devices, and they didn't get an idea how to use them in real life. The only application I know is that is like workable is virtual representation of architecture. So if architect wants to show you how your apartment will look like, he can stick phone into Google Cardboard, and he can show you from inside of this apartment how it will look. So you can kind of not maybe walk, but at least look around and get an idea how it can look like. So this comes to the point of making user experience better. So if you will decide to do something, you should consider a few things. First of all, a lot of demos I've seen, they try to avoid distortion. And distortion is important because if you will just render a couple frames, this is how usual virtual reality application looks like. I think it's a screenshot from Google Cardboard, some game, right? So if you will avoid this, if you will not do a distortion, you will end up in a situation when you look straight in the device and it looks kind of normal, but on sides it looks abnormal. I cannot describe you how, but if you will try, you will understand it like momentarily. Don't avoid distortion. This is another empty slide. I will not able to read the first word, so interpupillary distance adjustment. So the basic idea is, yeah. So the idea is that eyes are different. I mean, the skull of a human could vary enormously. For example, I have distance between my pupils about 75 millimeters. Some people have like 57 millimeters. Some people have 65 millimeters. And Google Cardboard, for example, is designed to have just one setting because it's extremely simple. And to move, you can actually take a knife and maybe move the lenses a little bit. It could make a difference, but also applications should understand that lenses are moved and your eyes are wider or narrower. So you please take it in consideration too when you will develop your application. Please do gamepad support. I'm asking Android developers for gamepad support for about a year. Like I'm buying stuff on Humble Bundle and then sending emails to developers that your game almost works with gamepad. Few of them actually responded and make the change. So if you don't know, you can use this OTG cable, any of the OTG cable. You can hook a gamepad to your Android phone. You can play. This is quite important for virtual reality because you have no other controls. Cardboard have this magnet button, but it's kind of click, and that's it. You cannot do anything else with it. Other applications take another approach. You can look down and you can see kind of plate with plate with legs. So if you look at this plate, you start to move forward. Then you look again, you stop. This is again kind of it. This is simple, but not convenient. If you will just make a gamepad support, it will make so much difference. And it's not rocket science. You have events like key events. You can just use them. Please try that. It works. If you don't have any other input, even if you cannot rely on device, and you cannot say that this device is Google Cardboard, so you cannot use this click thing. There is microphone. Please use microphone. You can do claps, for example. You can do voice commands. It depends on you. And simple graphics is important because the simpler graphics is, the faster you can render it. And this is another thing I want to try to sell you. And this thing was there for a reason. The reason is that I'm 35 now, so I was born a long time ago, and I'm kind of fan of these things. For example, Tron. Graphics is very simple, but back then it gave an idea of virtual reality, and it inspired youngsters. So they are grown-ups now, and they still will be interested in this kind of graphics because it exploits nostalgia, and also it's very simple to draw. It's really simple to. It's really fast to draw, to render on the screen. Another example like Lawnmower Man, or Johnny Mnemonic, or Ghost in a Shell. All these things, they brings nostalgia to the user experience, and it kind of combines with simple graphics. Please do that. Why I'm here and why I'm talking about this. I'm playing around with these technologies for some time now. This was my first application, just a kind of room. I used Android Cardboard API to get orientation, so you can rotate your phone. You can kind of look through this phone into some kind of virtual environment. There's also, it's really, really dark here. You can imagine there is two eyes now. You can see
in the computer.
Yeah. So this is another example of application, and because you cannot really see, but there are lines that build some kind of three-dimensional room, and because there are lines, and I could be easily adjusted to the lines. You can see these lines on a virtual screen more easy. Sorry. It's better to see lines than complicated textures that was kind of bumbling around. Lines are better. That's why I'm talking about simple graphics. That's how I learned that from this simple application. So I'm working now on another application. I'm a hobbyist photographer, and I have a fisheye lens like this. So what fisheye lens do? It gives you this angle on a diagonal, so it kind of gets everything in front of you. This is an example of, you know what? This is an example of cathedral in Milano. So you can see that image is distorted because this enormous angle in the lens, you cannot see it normally. You can only see it kind of distorted, and because it's distorted, when you see it right in front of you, it's not that experience that you have standing on the roof of this cathedral dome. Yeah, so you can kind of take a picture, and you can curve it in some kind of sail, you may say, and by curving it in this 3D environment, you can, and looking into this mesh from this environment, you can get now plain picture. If you look in the corner of this thing, you will still see that lines are perfectly aligned, and the result of this is that you can take a picture like this fisheye picture with your phone. Again, you can use OTG cable, connect the card reader or card reader or camera to your phone. You can open it right on your Android device, and you can choose this viewer as a viewer for your picture, and you will be able to experience this picture in 3D space from your phone if you have some kind of Google Cardboard or whatever. So this is what I'm working now. But I'm interested in what will you do, because actually this is not a rocket science. You can download API. You can, if you have some experience with Unity, you can grab SDK for Unity written by Doris Dive guys, because they have a Unity version that also works for iOS, so you can create iOS applications. And you can try something. This is really, really exciting. I'm feeling that I'm failing to sell this to you, but maybe after a couple pints today, you will reconsider. So this kind of joint meetup, maybe this is why it was overbooked. Lots of people here today. This is 3D Camp Dublin. We're trying to organize virtual reality meetups. And do you have any questions? Do you have any announcements?
Do you find VR it gets you dizzy or anything like that? How do you feel?
Yep. If you look, for example, there is an application for Oculus Rift. I don't remember, I cannot recall the name of this application, but it's kind of, you're sitting in a crate, you're sitting on something that is moving like, not roller coaster, but it goes up and down, up and down. You press a button, you fly somewhere. And in 1 minute, maybe less than 1 minute, I'm sick just trying to reach a bag for. This is, I think this happens because I'm not, my brain is not moving. I cannot feel any movement. But before my eyes, I can see a moving picture up, up and down, up and down. I have the same experience when I try to play one of the games with projector. Maybe. So I just, without virtual reality, I just had a projector. I was sitting next to this giant screen with gamepad. I was trying to play some game with third-person view, and I was sick like after a couple of minutes because every time I tried to rotate, it was this kind of motion sickness inducing thing. So yeah, and another thing that you can still see jittering the corner of the screen. Because without any things that John Carmack do with Samsung, you cannot achieve the same performance with normal phone. So yeah, this is kind of not good. So maybe perfect consumer for virtual reality now is the person who sits on a chair and not moving, and nothing happens right in front of him. Maybe like in some distance or far away. But this is not kind of stereoscopic vision that we all want to see. So I'm not sure. That's why I'm trying to encourage you to experiment.
So do you think there's a future in VR?
Yes, of course. I was raised on sci-fi. I cannot not believe in this.
You still don't have a rocket car either, so. But we will.
Hoverboards next year.
Oh yeah, counting down the days. Where do you think it's going yourself? In what areas do you feel it's being pushed most in?
What do you mean by where it's going?
Like these game parks, for VR, where you actually feel you're actually, let's say, in a car-like environment, and it can move for you. But in a limited environment, so a game theme park, or do you see it as a medical issue, or where do you think you?
I think that if you were listening to John Carmack's presentation from Connect, his vision is that the first thing will be media. So you will be watching movies or looking at the pictures or doing something like similar. So it's media experience, not really interactive. Then the what's called technology should evolve, and then we'll be able to bring mass audience to the more interactive experiences. I don't know where it will go. I just want to jump on a train and do it right now. Yeah.
As far as I understand, the big thing is happens because you have a difference between like movement and reaction, and like the shorter difference, the less dizzy you are. Like the older devices, like had like 20 years ago, was actually written on device that you cannot use more than 15 minutes. Like, and now it's much better.
Any other questions?
Awesome. Thank you very much, Gleb. Thank you, speakers. Our next job is to go over to O'Neill's and Pierce Street and drink. There will be a next kick in January. You'll have to have sobered up by then. And on